new hair, hoodies. People always say, move abroad, you're gonna get a job and send money home, you're gonna get a job and pay fees for yourself. Hey friends, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for joining me on this episode of this video today. How are you doing? How is everything? How has October been for you? Can you believe it? The other day we were just talking about how it was the first week of October and now we're literally at the end of October. Like, how quick does time actually fly? Like we're growing old. We're either growing old or it's just things have changed. Yeah, I'm doing well. Going with the flow, enjoying life. Yeah, I can't complain. The other day I posted something on my Insta stories about how, like, a year ago or slightly more than a year ago, I was unhappy. I was not at my best. Like, there was just so much. I felt like I was overwhelmed. I felt like there was just so much going on. And so I talked about how a year ago, like, I wasn't happy, and then this year I'm actually so happy. I feel like I'm thriving. I feel like, of course, there's things that are still going on, like me not having finished my thesis, but I feel like I'm at a better place mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically. Okay, psychologically and mentally are the same, but yeah, you get what I mean. So I feel like a whole year makes such a huge difference. Like, you may not know it because you're going through it, but then when you look back, you'll actually be like, whoa, I actually made it and I'm actually at a better place. So yeah, I just thought I should share that before delving into today's episode. If you're new here, thank you for joining. My name is Lisa and I am so glad that you decided to click on this video. So without further ado, let's get started on what I wish I knew before moving abroad. I feel like people always talk about, and I've talked about this before, like how people talk about the positives of moving abroad, and when you're living in a different place, you see abroad, wherever abroad is for you, it could be a different country, it could be a different continent, you see it as the be all and all kind of thing. Like, that's where you see the way people say living the American dream, so it could be living the abroad dream kind of thing, and you see it as so rosy. You see people making so much money, you see people coming back home and they're investing, and you're like, this is the life I want, this is the life I want. But let me tell you, there's things, to be honest, I wish I knew before moving abroad. Not because it would have necessarily changed my mind, but I feel like it would have sort of like prepared me better, so to speak. And yeah, I hope it prepares you if you're planning to move abroad, or if you know someone who's planning to move abroad. And if you moved abroad, I hope this resonates with you. And you can also add like your point down there on something you wish you knew before you made the move. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and yeah, let's grow this community together. So number one thing I wish I knew was the cost of living. I remember when I was younger, and I'm not so sure if it was a teacher at our school or just someone, but I remember hearing about how someone could be poor in America, and then when they come to Kenya, they could be rich. And I remember asking my dad once, and my dad was like, well, it depends on if they have money and all that. But I think in my young mind, I didn't understand the sort of currency thing, where obviously conversion of currency means that you could have more money in a certain country and less in another country. But let me tell you, moving abroad with your Kenyan shillings, for me who moved from Kenya, or your whatever dollars or whatever, and you're moving to a different place, and you start converting things and you're like, why is it so much money here? Why am I spending so much money here? The other day I was just looking at how much rent I pay per week, and I was like, if I was paying this amount per week in Kenya, I would be living in a mansion. I would be living in a mansion, like. But then cost of living, because if you paid, say, a specific amount in your country for a 1-bedroom, and then you move here and you see how much it is, and you actually realize the cost of living crisis that you thought you were running away from back home is everywhere. It is everywhere. That is the sad reality. And when they talk about inflation and they talk about all these things, and you're like, wait, what is this? What is this? But one thing I will tell you, when you move, please do not start converting things in your mind. Just take it as it is. If it's $10, do not start converting 10 times 150. I think the dollar is now at 150 Kenya shillings, and you start converting and you're like, wait, this is the amount of money I'm spending. Please don't, because you will get shocked. Another thing I wish I knew before moving was the healthcare system. And thankfully, I have very good health, and I am grateful for that, honestly. But I have seen people who have actually, like people who are not like temporary visa holders, who actually struggle. And by struggle, I mean they move to a different country, they do not have insurance, so they have to pay out of their pocket. And one thing I realized, especially with where I live, which is Australia, healthcare is free for citizens. But then as a temporary visa holder, you need to pay for healthcare. And it's not like you're going to pay $10. Let me tell you, it is high. Especially, the thing is, in Kenya, for example, when you go to a public hospital, you expect that it's going to be cheaper than going to a private hospital. But I've realized here, going to a public hospital or government hospital is going to cost you more than you going to a general practitioner, because people here struggle. And another thing I've realized, especially with where I am, is that healthcare is seen as something that is very generally, not even just here, like generally speaking, healthcare is one of the industries that struggles the most in many countries. And so when you move abroad, you're like, oh, healthcare will be better here, and then you come and you're like, the wait time is 10 hours, the wait time is 5 hours, you have to pay certain amounts of money, and you're just like, how am I going to survive? How am I going to survive if I pay this much money? The good thing, when you move to Australia as a student, for example, you're required to pay for your medical insurance, at least for the number of years that you're gonna be at uni. So at least that helps you sort of like sort the bill out, so that whether you choose to go to a public or private hospital, at least you know that your insurance will cater to most of your bills. But let me tell you, pray for good health, because health is a blessing. And if you're traveling abroad, if you're just traveling and not moving, please make sure you have travel insurance. Take this from me. Another thing I wish I knew before moving abroad was the whole housing thing. Now, where I come from, housing is very different. And it's different in terms of, you go, you see a house that is vacant, for example, and you go look at it, you like it, and you approach the agent and you pay for the house. As simple as that. And then you move in, so you pay deposit, move in. Here, let me tell you, when I was looking for a house after being hosted for a while, so I decided to look for a house. Let me tell you, why was I applying for housing like I'm applying for a job? Why are we doing that? Like you're applying for housing like you're applying for a job. You literally have to submit like your pay slips, your bank statement, your, oh my god, housing applications abroad. I don't know if this happens in every other country like America or the UK, but here I was just like, what? Even after inspecting the house, so you'll go inspect a house, they have certain dates. So like say house inspection on like a Saturday, so you go inspect the house and then fill in an official application, like a form, and then show your bank statement, show your pay slips. And I get like they're trying to safeguard themselves in so that at least they know the person who's gonna get the house will be able to pay for it and all that stuff. But hey, I'm not used to this. I'm not I was just like, whoa, this is something totally different. And I've seen people on TikTok actually complain about how they've moved abroad, say for a job, say for school, and they think they're gonna, or they are worried they're gonna be homeless because they've applied for housing and haven't been chosen for any. And to be honest, it's scary because, as you know, one of the basic needs of humans is shelter, food, shelter, clothing. So shelter. So if you don't have a place to live, it's scary. Another thing I wish I knew before moving is work and career life, like just the whole work and career thing. So I have talked about how I was already a professional in my country. I had worked for a few years and yeah, I loved what I did. And I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I just want to grow in it and stuff like that. So I moved here and start applying for jobs. And what do they want? They require you to have Australian experience. Now you have just moved to a new country. Where are you going to get the experience? Where are you going to get this experience? And let me tell you, it is tough. Thankfully, there's a few places that actually take you without the experience. Thing is, some may require you to do some certificates and certifications, which cost money. So if you're planning to move abroad, please move with money. Another thing is, if say you're moving as a student who had a profession, say like an engineer in your home country, and you come here and start applying for engineering jobs, I'm just gonna be honest with you and tell you it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy. I'm not gonna say like you're not gonna get jobs in that field. You will, but it's not gonna be easy. Thankfully, there's a few sites that you can use to apply for jobs and see what is required. There's a few sites where you can get certifications, and there's also a few jobs where you can actually start earning even as you try to get the certifications. So yeah, so it's not as easy as people say, because people always say, move abroad, you're gonna get a job and send money home, you're gonna get a job and pay fees for yourself. I know people have struggled. And like I mentioned in so many of my videos before, do due diligence, do your research and do it well. Another one is homesickness. Nothing prepares you for how homesick you're gonna get or you're gonna be until you move abroad. You may have lived alone before, you may have lived away from your friends and family before, but let me tell you, moving abroad unlocks another whole meaning to the word homesickness. Because tell me why you would be waking up and feeling so lonely, and you're talking to yourself and you're just like, I miss food, I miss home, I miss my friends, tell me why you'll be seeing people's stories or Instagram posts or social media posts in general and feel left out when they're getting married, when they're having babies, when they're the level of homesickness that will hit you is gonna be intense. It's gonna be intense. There's moments you're just gonna cry. There's moments and you're just crying not because you're unhappy, but you're just homesick and you're just like you, it's not like you wanna move back, but you're just homesick and you're just like, oh my god. There are gonna be many moments like those. But you know what? You shall conquer. You shall conquer. You will survive. Tied to my previous point is the amount of adaptability and resilience that you will have to have. That's something I wish I knew. I am generally a very hardcore person and I am very independent as well, but let me tell you, there's things you will have to adapt to. There's things you will just have to be resilient because you're the only one. You have yourself. You know the way some people will say, I got you, or you got your family and stuff. Let me tell you, when you move abroad and you move alone, you only have yourself. So I have myself to depend on myself. You have to think, I can't let myself down. I need to pay school fees. I need to eat. I need to do other things. I have to look after myself. And that just unlocks another level of resilience and adaptability. I know I'm laughing, but let me tell you, this, to be honest, are things I wish I knew. Not, like I mentioned, not because they would have changed my mind, but I feel like they would have prepared me, especially mentally, for what was to come. So yeah, if you're planning to move abroad, I hope this helps. I hope you're able to see the other side that people do not necessarily talk about, and I hope it helps you in settling. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.